Hi, YouTube. I just wanted to kind of introduce myself again. This is sort of a second, third, whatever YouTube channel. Um, so, first of all, the name that I will be going by on this channel is Lapis Lorelei, Lorelei for short. I have been a practicing pagan witch for about 8 years. I started in 2011. I did my year and a day study, solitary, from 2011 to 2012. I used to have a YouTube channel on here. I'll link it down below so you can see what I've got, but I really only made a handful of videos before I let it go. Life just kind of got busy. My husband and I went to buy a house, and we found different jobs, and I got really busy, went back to school, and I just didn't have time for YouTube. Sorry, guys. So I just kind of let it go, but I recently started thinking that would be kind of a nice way to get back in to my spiritual practice, was actually restarting my YouTube channel. So I just wanted to give a little background about me and how I got here as my introduction. So I turned 30 this year. I have been married to my husband for, it'll be 9 years this year in November. Yep. Holy crap, we've been married a long time. I got married at 21, so we've been married a while. He is still the absolute best person I could have chosen to get married to. He has been here for me throughout my transition spiritually. He's been super supportive in all that. I have got some mental health stuff that comes up here and there, and he's been super supportive about all of that. He's just a wonderful person all around. I can't say enough good things about my husband. We also have a son who turned 3 this year. And fun fact, he was born on my birthday, so I got a kid for my 27th birthday. Yeah. There are no birthdays for me anymore, which is totally fine. I'm good at stopping at 30, and my son can just have birthdays from here on out, and I'll just stay 30. It's fine. It's fine. I am trying to raise my son in a somewhat blended magical world, if that kind of makes sense. My parents and my husband's parents both live within 5 minutes of us, and they are both, Christian. My mom is more and more super Christian. I don't know. They all know that I have started down this path. My husband's father is not super excited about it. It kind of puts him on edge, so we don't talk about it. And my mom thinks that I have forsaken Jesus, which is weird, because my mom is the one who taught me growing up to be exceptionally understanding of other people's point of views and not trying to sway them or preach to them or anything like that. So let me give you a little background here. I grew up Christian, obviously. My parents are. I super accepted it. In high school, I was a Bible-thumping, holier-than-thou Christian. Oh my God. I look back and I'm like, I can't believe that was who I was. This is ridiculous. Pretty much all the guys I dated were Christian, but at the same time, I was one of those people. I was like, well, I don't cuss because it's a sin, and I don't whatever because it's a sin, and I'm saving myself for marriage, and blah 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 blah. Like, it was just, I was ridiculous. And I had a boyfriend that had a bit of a potty mouth, and I kind of went after him for that, I guess. Like, I was like, you can't call yourself a Christian and do all this stuff because the Bible says blah, blah, blah. And it just, I was a horrible person, okay? I'm sorry. I apologize for that. I promise I'm trying to be better. And I am very understanding now of other paths. And actually, it was my mom who got me there. My mom is the one who pointed out, if you keep pointing out all these people's sins and what they're doing wrong or whatever, people don't like being told that they're a bad person or that they're not following their religion or whatever. So if you want to get them on your side, I don't think telling them what they're doing wrong is the right way to do it. It was more about being a good example, I guess. And that was kind of what my mom talked about. And actually, the denomination of Christianity that I grew up in, which is Episcopalian, Catholic light, that's kind of what that church believes, is they believe in spreading the word of God through good example, being a good example, and just following what Jesus said about loving everybody and all this stuff. So once I started, sorry, I'm a little sick. Once I started doing that, things got a lot better. And I started understanding what my mom was talking about. And so to get to me going from Christianity to paganism, my husband and I got married. We had a Christian ceremony in my family's church that I grew up in. It's really funny because actually the Episcopalian ceremony includes a hand fasting. So I actually had some pagan friends at the time that were invited to the wedding. Actually, they weren't my friends yet. They were my husband's friends from work. I had not met them yet. But he invited them, and I was okay with that. And they didn't tell me at the time because we weren't friends, but they told me later that when they saw the hand fasting part of it, they were like, ooh, that's pagan. No, 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 no. So I'm actually really glad that that was part of my ceremony because of where my path went. But anyway, that's another story. So we got married. I was Christian. I started working at the same agency as my husband. So I met a lot of his friends. I became really good friends with two of the employees there that were both pagan. We started kind of hanging out. And I got to be really good friends with this one girl. And she and her husband, both pagan. We hung out like as couples and stuff, and it was, a lot of fun. We went over, they moved one day, they moved houses, and we went over to their new house just to see it, kind of hang out, have dinner, whatever, and we're over there. I knew they were pagan, and I was okay with that. I just didn't really understand it. So I went over there, and they had these bookshelves on their walls. Sorry, I'm like looking at my wall. But they had bookshelves lining their walls, and they had some of their tools laid out on the bookshelf. And I was like, okay, I really don't want to be offensive here. I'm just trying to understand. How do you use that cauldron? Like, it's small. It's not like you're like, boil, toilet, and trouble. Like, it's not like they're making these huge witch's brews or anything like that. I'm like, what are you doing with that? So the husband took the cauldron down off the bookshelf and let me see it. And he said, look, this is a fire-safe vessel. Okay. And he goes, all right, So magic to us is a focused intention in order to make something happen. Okay? He said, so when you pray, that's a form of magic in our religion. And I'm like, okay, I can see that because you're, focusing on talking to God. Okay, I got this. So then I'm like, all right, so what's something that you might do with the cauldron? And he's like, all right, well, let me give you an example. He said, you might take a piece of paper and write your petition, your request, whatever, on the piece of paper. If you want to do so, you may choose a specific type of ink or something to lend to that intention. Okay. He used dragon's blood ink as an example. He was like, well, if you want to make something stronger or just more, basically just stronger, more there, then you can use dragon's blood ink to make it stronger, make it more potent. I'm like, okay. So he's like, all right, so I'll like write my little petition with dragon's blood ink on this piece of paper, fold it up. And he was like, all right, so then I use the cauldron as a fire-safe vessel, which means that I might light the piece of paper on fire, drop it in the cauldron, and let it burn up. And then the smoke from the fire, we kind of visualize that smoke is sending our petition up to God. From a Christian's perspective, let me just let that sink in for a minute. Because I did that at church camp. I'm not even kidding. I did that at church camp. And I told them this, we wrote out our goals for like the next 5 years. They were spiritual goals, who we wanted to be as a person in the next 5 years. This was actually a weekend retreat type of thing at the church camp, okay? Next 5 years, where we see ourselves spiritually. Folded up the piece of paper. And they made a huge bonfire. And almost ritually, they had each of the participants in this retreat, we all gathered around the bonfire and we threw our goals into the bonfire. And we had a talk about how the smoke from the bonfire was lifting our goals up to God, because the whole goal of this retreat was let go, let God. So I look at my friend and I go, you're telling me that as a Christian, I've been practicing what you call magic basically my whole life. And she looks at me and she goes, yeah, pretty much. What? Mind blown. Okay, so my husband and I go home. I'm talking to him about this the entire ride home. And I'm talking about how when I was in second grade, I made this dream catcher. And I was having bad dreams at the time. And so, because we were learning about the Native Americans, so we made dream catchers. And so I took my dream catcher home and I put it up on the wall above my bed. This was in second grade. And I stopped having bad dreams. And so I believed in that dream catcher. I believed that it worked. And I'm like, I've been practicing magic my whole life. So why is everyone so afraid of it? What is the big freaking deal? So I started looking into it more, and that's kind of where my path started. I did a lot of research. I actually originally looked at becoming like a Christian witch, which I did for a while. And I think I can make a whole other video about my path from Christian to Christian witch to pagan, kind of back to Christian witch, and where I am now. Like, that's a whole other thing. But for now, I'm going to be going by Lorelei on this channel. I'm an eclectic pagan. I'm kind of like 1 foot out of the broom closet and 1 foot in, if that makes sense. Married, 1 kid, and yeah, I think that's good for now. So, hi everybody, I'm here.